Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Mega Garrett 1995. I'm going to be doing a deck tech for you guys today. This is a deck tech on a budget because all of these cards are really cheap to pick up. The deck's really cool in how it works. So I'm just going to go into the land base. It's just 24 land, 12 on each side. Going into sorceries and instants and stuff because this will be, as I like to call it, it's red burn. Or it's called Clash of the Planeswalkers. I'm running a playset of Devil's Play. I like this more than Fireball, and the only reason because I like it more than Fireball is because Devil's Play has Flashback. Fireball's nice, though, because you can choose more than one target. So, I mean, it is nice to have that. I run 3 Thunderous Wrath in a mono red deck because it's a miracle card, and the second you draw it, you can instantly do 5 damage to maybe an annoying creature, or just 5 damage straight up to your opponent. I'm running 3 Incinerate because it's nice for small little petty creatures that your opponent controls, like Llanowar Elves or something like that, or maybe like a Planeswalker or something that you want to kind of bring down a little bit. It deals 3 damage to our creature or player, and it can't be regenerated this turn, so that's pretty cool. I'm running 3 Gunshot because it's a blood burn. It's a blood mana. And so if you don't have any mana untapped, I mean, you can sacrifice 2 of your life and do a straight up damage. And then Krankel's Command is just kind of help there. He's just kind of there to help slap out some creatures. So with the creature base, I've got a playset of Goblin Arsonist. And of course, for every red burn deck or every mono red deck, you gotta have at least 3 Inferno Titans. 3 Goblin Slingers, and a playset of Kudos Ringleader. I kind of like all these cards and their combinations together, because let's say you have an Inferno Titan out, and you have at least 2 Kudos Ringleaders out. They have Battle Cry, which means that every other creature they attack with gets a +1/+1. So, Inferno Titan is already a 6/6. When it attacks or enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage as you choose. So at that point, you can consider Inferno Titan a 9/6. And then with Kudos Ringleader, I mean, if you got 2 of them out, that's an 11/6 right there that your opponents are going to be a little overwhelmed to take. If you put Trample on him, that would just be beautiful. And then also his red ability, where he gets a +1/+0 until end of turn. You can use that as multiple times as you like, so you can also boost him up with that. I've actually gotten him to the point where I used an ability of Cough, where it's his -2, and I add 1 red mana to my mana pool for each mountain I control, and so I was able to boost him up quite a bit and give him Trample in a different deck that I had played, and so he's really good for anything you can build him around. Goblin Arsonists are nice because it's a 1/1, it's a 1-drop, and when it dies, it deals 1 damage to our creature or player. That's pretty cool if you're building a mono red deck. Goblin Slinger, Fire Slinger, it's a 1-drop, 1/1, you just tap it to do 1 damage to our player. So that's just straight up. Kudos Ringleader has attack each turn of Fable. That's not really something I like about him, but he's nice because he can give everyone else Battle Cry. And then Krankel's Command is just to slap out little creatures to piss off your opponent. The combinations with why I've got more sorceries and instants than I do creatures is because when you eventually get out a Chandra, because you can't have more than 2 out, Chandra the Fire Brand's -2 ability is next time you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy that and choose new targets. So say you're summoning Krankel's Command, you get 4 goblins instead of 2. Gunshot, you gotta do an extra damage. Incinerate, it's an extra 3 damage. Thunderous Wrath, that would actually be really cool for Thunderous Wrath, because that's an extra 5 damage that you don't gotta pay a mana cost for. Devil's Play, it's not so much because it's just an extra mana that you would have to pay that wouldn't be necessary. So I think I would just leave that alone and use that flashback ability. For Koth of the Hammer, I mean, the main point of him is to really use his last ability, his -5, to get out his emblem, which it says, you tap 1 mana, and that mana deals... Okay, so you tap a mountain, and that mountain deals 1 damage to target creature or player. So that's pretty cool. And then his second ability I like, because it can also help boost up creatures, maybe help me slap down some instants and sorceries, and just some pretty nasty cards. And I'm not sure I quite like his first ability. It says, untap target mountain, it becomes a 4/4 red element creature until end of turn. It's still a land. So that could give an opponent a chance to destroy your lands, but normally they don't. Since I've done 24 hours of playtest, I actually played 12 hours. I've played 25 hours, I should say, because I played an extra hour with my friend last night, so I could just kind of get another hour in and test out the deck, because it really is fun. With Table the Fiendblooded, actually, let me, so I can actually read it. I've got a Japanese one here, so I'm not able to read Japanese just yet. And I'm messing up all the other cards. But his first ability is you pay 1, you draw a card, and then discard a card. Not good if you have no cards in your hand. I figured out that you can't discard stuff on the battlefield. That freaking sucks. So make sure you at least have one more card in your hand. Second ability, Tibble of Fiendblood deals damage equal to the number of cards in target player's hand. That's pretty cool because that does straight up damage to an opponent, and he's just kind of nice to get out there because he's a 2-drop. His -6 is he gains control of all creatures until end of turn and then gain haste. That's also the reason why I don't have so many creatures, because if I'm playing against a mono green deck or something, I can just take control of all your creatures and use them against you. And also Chandra can help me slap out a couple 1/1s. So that's always nice to have. And then I've always got my Goblin Slingers, and I'll probably have my Inferno Titan out by then. The most rounds I've actually been able to kill someone was in 7 rounds, which was 5 minutes, and the guy was absolutely, like, just shocked. It was in a win-a-box match, and it was really cool. I basically had all my Goblin Arsonists out, I had 2 Goblin Fire Slingers, had all my gunshots, and I actually drew 2 Thunderous Wraths that turn because of Tibble, so there was an instant 10 damage. I attacked him with one Inferno Titan, and when both of them entered the battlefield, there's 6 damage to him, using all my gunshots on him, and then maybe using Tibble's ability, his second one. I mean, it just completely murdered him, the 7th round. So, I mean, it's a really fun deck. There's the Devil's Play that you guys can take in and out. I normally have 2 of them as a side deck in my sideboard. I don't like to run too many of them, so I would probably, like, put 2 Devil's Play into another deck, and then put 2 Fireballs in here, so I've got that alternate option, whether or not I want to kill more creatures, or use a flashback ability, so that would be actually really cool to do that. I actually think this is it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. There's one more thing I'm going to show you guys before I let you go. It's the next couple of cards I'll be using for my next deck tech, and I just wanted your guys' opinions on this, so that I know what kind of a deck to build around it. And so it's a really, really tricky thing to do. I'm not sure. I've been thinking about it for a while of what I could do for these 2 different decks, and I'm just absolutely clueless. So if your guys' input would be really, really cool. So let me just put these 2 out here. Alrighty, so I've got 2 Swords of Body in mind, and I actually really like this. It gives 1 creature +2/+2, protection from green and blue, and it says, whenever equipped a creature deals combat damage to a player, you may put a 2/2 wolf creature token into the battlefield, and that player puts the top 10 cards of their library into his or her graveyard. That's actually really cool if you're trying to deck someone and get out creatures at the same time. I actually believe these are legal. I have one from the Vault, which is the foil, and then I've got one from Scars of Mirrodin. So these will be legal standard decks. Then I've got 2 Swords of War and Peace, and these are from New Sphinxia. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And these are really nice to throw out, because it's a 3-drop, 2 equipped. I think that's actually, yeah, it's the same for all the swords. And it says equipped a creature gets +2/+2, protection from red and white, and when equipped your creature deals combat damage to a player, Sword of War and Peace deals damage equal to the number of cards in target player's hand. And I gained 1 life for each card in my hand. So, I don't know what to build out of these decks. I could possibly figure out a way to build a deck out of this with maybe a Jace or 2. I think that would be a nice mix, because maybe deck you and build a green deck to green and blue deck to kind of slap out creatures and deck you at the same time. I think that would be a cool combination. So, with the Sword of War and Peace, though, I'm really clueless on what to do with it. I might throw those into the sort of body in mind, because it is kind of nice, because it deals 1 damage to them for each card in their hands, so it's kind of nice to just slap those on out there. So they're both very card-based, depending on if you have cards. If you don't have cards, it'll do damage, or something like that, or you have to discard or something. So I think those two would be a nice mix, but I would like to build them in both separate decks. So yeah, just PM me or comment down below, down in the crotch, guys. And thanks very much.